Good morning, everybody. Uh, Today, I wanted to come on and talk about a subject that I see happening often, and people, although they are well intentioned, so somebody says you only have one parent, or you only have one sister, or you only have one husband, one wife, obviously. And although their intentions are good, they're actually somebody that's brought up in a toxic environment as a child. Their default will tend to be guilt and shame. So by you telling this person that they only have one parent, they need to be more submissive, they need to just be quiet and deal with it, you're actually causing more harm to that person than you are helping them, because like I said before, their default will be guilt and their default will be shame. So in essence, what you're telling them is that they are the one that is at fault for just not being submissive enough, or not playing along, not going along to get along. And it actually confirms in their mind that they are just not good enough, and it's something that they are doing wrong. And oftentimes you could see this in a church setting where say a wife or a husband goes to a pastor and they will tell them, this is what's going on in my marriage, or with my child, or with my parent. And they will tell the person that is basically pouring their heart out to them that they need to change their behavior, and that if they just try to be more submissive, or try to be more quiet and just go along with this behavior, they're not actually, although they're well intentioned, they're not dealing with the problem, and they are potentially putting this person more in harm's way and subjected to more abuse. I do believe that this topic needs to be studied by narcissism needs to be studied by pastors. Trauma needs to be studied by these people, because they are in essence shepherding people. So they need to learn about this topic so they can help people kind of, it's a difficult topic to, I don't know if there's internet problems, because I see one person coming in and I'm not sure if it looks good on my end. I'm not sure if, welcome, the one person that is in here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I remember I was on social media, and I think it was Periscope, and there was a person that he was basically pouring his heart out to people, and I kind of tend to sit back and watch and listen to people over time, because I think only in getting the full picture and listening over time, this is narcissism, and toxicity is not, you can't just take a snippet and then think that you have the whole picture. So I kind of tend to sit and listen over time to people's stories, listen how they handle situations. And I remember he was telling people that what things that his dad would do, and they lived together, and he was explaining, and through the explanations you could see that the son had been brought up in a toxic environment, and he didn't have good boundaries, and he didn't know where he ended and his dad started. And for lack of knowledge, he didn't understand that he lived in toxicity and had been living in it his whole life. And the people on there Like I said, their intentions were good, and they were telling him, well, you only have one father, you need to work it out. And I'm not saying that working it out is not a good thing if the other person is willing to sit down and to listen, and you can have a conversation with this person and they can admit their faults, you can admit their faults, and you can move forward. But what they were telling him was, you only have one dad, you need to work it out. You're going to regret it. If something happens to him, you're going to regret it. You're going to feel guilty. And I just sat back and I was listening to these people giving him this commentary, and I was thinking, this guy is already predisposed to feeling like crap about himself as a person, and probably heard growing up that he wasn't good enough. And now people are telling him he's going to regret it and he's going to feel guilty if something happens. That is a thing that toxic parents say. You're going to regret it one day when I die. You're going to regret it, and you're going to feel. You just don't say that to people, and it's not. And like I said before, people don't do it intentionally. They don't mean to. They don't know what they're doing. It's like telling a wife that's in an abusive situation that she just needs to not piss off her spouse, or he needs to not piss off his spouse. So in essence, what are you saying? You're saying that if the wife does everything perfectly, then she wouldn't be abused. So where is the abuser in this situation, and who is going to tell them that what they are doing is incorrect? Nobody. It's just, that's okay. It's just accepted behavior. In essence, that's what people are saying, right? That's what I get from it. So I would suggest to people, instead of so the people that are going through this, you are allowed to have boundaries. You are allowed to, if this person is in your life is abusive to you, you are allowed to go no contact. You are allowed to not speak to them. You have that right as a human being to decide who you want in your life and who you do not want in your life. You know the full extent of the situation. But what we tend to do, if you've been raised in a toxic environment, is you go to all these people and you will ask them their opinions. And although their opinions are gleaned from their situation, from their childhood, and if they grew up in a normal environment, yeah, we'll work it out, right? That's their mindset. Just work it out. People make mistakes. People are normal. People are kind, people are generous, but people make mistakes and they fall. But so you're going to take all these, because children that grow up in this type of environment seek validation from other people, telling them, because you're used to the toxic parent telling you who you are, what you should do, what is right, what is incorrect. So you take that, and instead of listening to yourself and saying, I just need some time, and I need time, and I need to not speak to this person so I can get healthy. Because I don't believe you can get healthy in a toxic environment. If you're in that situation, if you're still with that person and they're in your life constantly and you're seeking help, it's very difficult for you to heal while you are in that environment itself, because it's a constant bombardment. Like, you're going to therapy, you're getting help, and then you're going home, and it's the same thing over and over again. So it's really hard to heal while you're in it. But you do have that right to take the time. You do have the right to establish boundaries and to say no. No is a complete sentence. I won't put up with this. I don't deserve it. And work on yourself while you are away. And while you are away, more often than not, you will see exactly, you will kind of, what ends up happening is when you get some distance, you'll see over time that your situation was not okay, and that you don't deserve to be abused on a consistent basis. And then on top of it, you have people telling you that you only have one father, you only have one mother, you only have one husband, you need to work it out, but you're just constantly taking abuse. You have the right to walk away and to take a break and to see who you are as a person, because more often than not, if you grow up in this type of environment, you don't have an idea of you don't have a good idea of who you are as a person, your dislikes, your likes, because you've been told your whole life you weren't allowed to be you weren't allowed to critically think. So you were taught to have the mindset of the parent instead of your own. And then you'll find over time, once you get some distance, that a lot of the things that you learn, because complex trauma is a learned set of behaviors. If it's a learned set of behaviors, that means you can unlearn it. Once you begin to heal, you'll say, okay, it's common for people that have been raised like this to be jealous, because the toxic parent was always, why does this person have that? Why does that person have that? And sometimes you will have gained that thought process, but that's actually not you. So you will set yourself apart, and you'll begin to break those chains and the thought processes, and then you can realize where your anxiety actually comes from, where your depression actually comes from, where your OCD comes from, your social anxiety, not feeling good enough. When you go out in public settings, you're thinking, you're self-monitoring everything you may say in a conversation. Then you ask the person that you're with, did I sound stupid? Because you have this false sense of who you are, and that's been perpetrated on you. It's not actually the person that you are. But telling somebody in an abusive situation to be more submissive, to be more quiet, to just go along, to get along, you're actually reinforcing those thoughts in their mind that they are the problem. And like I said before, they're already predisposed to guilt and to shame. So just continuing the cycle. So for the people that are going through this, it would help to get yourself some books on boundaries, to get yourself some books on complex trauma, to get yourself a book on people pleasing. Because if you're constantly pleasing everybody around you and not doing anything for yourself, you're going to get depleted, you're going to get burned out, and then you're going to get angry. And then you're going to look exactly like what the toxic person said you are, because you're just so tired of everyone and everything, and you're not able to set that boundary and say, no, I can't do that with you today. No, I can't. I'm just not able. I'm sorry. And not explain. So people that have been through this tend to over-explain, tend to over-share information, because they feel like they have to explain every single thing that they have to justify. They have to qualify things that they say or opinions that they have, because they're so used to being talked down to and being the people pleaser. So as you begin to heal, as you begin to grow, you will realize that those people that were telling you this, to just be more submissive, they actually don't know what they're talking about. And bless them for thinking that everybody is as normal as their family. I mean, you just don't send somebody back into a toxic situation in telling them that if they only did this or if they only did that. That's what the abuser actually does. So I hit you, or I did this, or I did that because of your behavior. So they're taking the onus and they're passing it on to their victim or the person they're abusing, not seeing that they are. So where is their Where is their responsibility for self-control? Nowhere. Nobody deals with them. Nobody talks to them. And they're often very good manipulators, and they can manipulate even their own therapists into believing that the victim is the abuser. So that is what I wanted to get on today and talk about. And I hope you guys have a good weekend wherever you are in the world. And that's it. We'll see you next Saturday. Thank you.